One Punch Man Season 3 Episode 1 was decent, and I actually liked it. We've talked before about the art, saying it's much better than Season 2, which it is for sure. But I can't tell you that Season 3 Episode 1 is better than Season 2's premiere episode. Let's just call a spade here, and just say that we knew that Episode 1 would be full of dialogues and talks setting up this good arc. So we, or I, didn't really expect much animation and movement in the first place. But people are acting like this is a surprise. Yes, for sure, since there were no action scenes, the episode honestly felt kinda stiff. At times you feel like you're actually watching a colored manga. But think about it from a production standpoint. You have this full episode that has absolutely nothing going on. You would try as best as possible to preserve the budget for future relevant fights. The only problem with this kind of logic is that this is the premiere episode, and first episodes must always make an impression. But let's compare it to Season 2, for example. First episode, I thought it was decently animated. Characters demonstrated fluid movements even when it wasn't a fight. The art was bad for sure, but the episode was decent. However, when we got to Suiryu vs Saitama, for example, which is a very relevant fight, the animation was so bad that I wish they saved the budget they wasted on episode 1 for this specific fight. The point is, we really need to understand that Season 3 has a lot of fights. Granting good animation for all of them is pretty taxing even for well-known studios, so it's better to save it up for future events. But hey, the episode wasn't bad. It was just not something a lot of people expected from a series like One Punch Man. If this was placed in the middle of the season, it would have been okay. In my opinion, it's just a shaky start. Yes, we could have had more movements, at least with Garu picking up that paper from the table or something like that, but the art is actually polished throughout the episode and is pretty good. The episode at the end of the day covered 2 chapters with just a bunch of people talking. However, the second part, specifically talking about the Saitama group scene, was actually the best in the episode and had the most movements, specifically involving Fubuki. It really felt like I'm watching Season 1 at that instant. Narinki, who's not a very relevant character, also surprisingly had some decent movements with his squad. And one really good thing that I loved about this episode is the new OSTs. I actually liked all of them and thought they were decently placed. However, as I said before, let's call a spade a spade. Is this what we deserve and what we expected all these 6 years we waited? Absolutely not. But it's really too soon to say. We will definitely see scenes animated from big shots like Aoki in the future, so let's just sit and wait and not over-exaggerate things from first episode. Now, I gotta say that there is one thing that bothered me a lot in this episode, and I cannot tell you how much it bugged me when I figured it out. When watching the second part, I kept asking myself, where is Royal Ripper? It just hit me that they actually just removed Royal Ripper from the scene for some reason. He's actually supposed to kill a bunch of monsters, toy with Narinki's squad, beef up with G5 and do S, and sense that Garu was hiding just behind him. However, they changed it to where Garu just decided to join them, which doesn't make any sense. In my opinion, they should have at least Giru telling him to come out, but God should have also been a part of that conversation, telling Garu that a great monster should never hesitate to unalive humans or heroes. Don't get me wrong, studios change stuff all the time. Remove and add scenes are normal things in this industry, and them being present or not doesn't really change things narratively speaking. The reason this bugged me a lot is because I thought, okay, they're going to straight up remove a lot of things to reach Orochi versus Saitama in this season. So I'm guessing a lot of fights like the support team battles with monsters in the surface are assumably going to be tied down. That's really the only complaint I have about this episode, besides the Garu scene walking in the hallway, which looked unreasonably bad. However, as I said, people are over-exaggerating things for a first episode, as some of you are saying that the pacing seems rushed, but trust me when I say it, it's less rushed than Season 2. It just felt that way since transitions between scenes weren't longer. As a matter of fact, the video that I made back in the day had this episode ending at Royal Ripper and Bug God showing up to fight Garu, something I concluded due to following the same pace of Season 2. They also should have done better when it comes to the cliffhanger of this episode, as people are not really hyped for the next episode. The post-time credit with Sonic adapting the bonus chapter is pretty good. I actually liked it. It's a very comedic scene, but people because of that are not gonna be intrigued to watch the next episode. They should have had something where they show a future thing like Saitama being present at the same diner as Garu, something that would make people want to watch the next episode. So at the end of the day, was the episode good? In my opinion, it was, for an episode full of talks, and I'm pretty sure the next episode will be much better since it has a bunch of action scenes, and I'm also pretty confident future episodes are going to be even better. The fights we're going to have will change a lot of people's minds. So stay positive, stay optimistic, support your favorite series, and let's meet when the next episode airs. Also, make sure to check my new ranking video of all demon level monsters in the series. Until next time, please take good care.